Well, and that is part of the issue here, right? Is Jordan Love, by his own admission, has been less accurate. His completion percentage actually dropped for the season. Now, again, we can point to playing through injury and that affecting his accuracy then. That ain't.
Let me ask you
that
this.
Ain't it now.
Since this is the Tausch Ask Wilde portion of this program, which I like, has he regressed? According to Jason J. Wilde.
No, I don't think he's regressed.
I think you're afraid of Twitter people coming at you.
No, because I'll say this.
Has he lived up to the expectations that you thought you were going to see from him?
I appreciate the question. He has not progressed as much
isn't
as
that
we
regress then?
No.
Okay.
He progressed a small amount instead of a large amount. He made great progress in the second half of last season, and it was not the leaps and bounds that I think I and many others who were putting him in the MVP conversation were anticipating. And I don't think you can just chalk it up to the knee injury in the opener or the groin injury in Jacksonville. I don't think he made as big of a jump as I expected him to, as the Packers expected him to, and most importantly, as big as he expected to. Like, if you asked Jordan Love that same question, did you regress this year? I suppose I could ask it to him at his locker tomorrow. But his response is going to be, no, I don't think I regressed, but I certainly didn't make as much progress as I wanted to this season. I've got a lot more work to do to become the quarterback I know I can be.
So let me ask you this. Okay, Jesse just had this little bar graph deal, like the stock market, right? Where it's last year after the Dallas game is where he was at his pinnacle. Can we all agree on that? He was up. Let's just say like the Dow Jones 5 or the S&P 5. Let's say 6,
until the fourth quarter in San Francisco. I'd even say.
Let's say it's at 1,000 at that point, just to make it easy. So he's up at 1,000. The little mountain looks like a mountain. Where is he at now? Is he at 1,100 because he's progressed, but not to the 1,500 that we wanted, or is he lower than that? Is he at like 800? Do you get what I'm saying?
I do.
Can we run that, Jesse? Can you put some of those graphics up on the little YouTube?
I cannot. That's not on our video stream.
I wasn't sure if that was accessible.
That is our back end of YouTube telling us how many people are watching at any given time.
I just want to make sure you guys understand, because I think this fits what Jason was just talking about. Because I think your point, I would probably agree with, that he has not. I definitely would agree he has not progressed to the degree. I think we thought he would be in that MVP conversation. He's been nowhere to be found on that, right? I don't know if I would say he's a top 3 NFC quarterback, which last year at this time I said. I did.
Look,
he was there.
In fairness to him, he was playing the position as well as anyone in the league
last year
at the end of the season.
100%.
So, and he this was just a wonky year. That, yes, I don't think we can just say that the injuries had no role whatsoever, because that's unfair to him.
I would totally agree with you. He had to fight a lot of stuff, a lot of adversity that he had to overcome, no doubt.
But I also think that there were other components to this. There was hey, I got through my first year. I was pretty damn good in the second half of last season. I'm ready for more. I'm going to take more chances. I'm going to push the envelope a little bit. And sometimes it worked. Sometimes it didn't. I think Matt LaFleur thought, okay, last year we went into the season with no clue in God's green earth what the quarterback and all these young guys he was going to be throwing to were capable of. Now we think we got a good handle on it. Let's take this offense to the next level. And I think they struggled to make the jump with the expansion of the offense and the ideas that they wanted to implement.
Okay.
I think the injuries affected it some, but I think he just was inaccurate for other reasons as well. I think when he was dealing with the injuries, he was inaccurate. And then I think, and again, I don't have any problem asking Jordan this, because one of the great things about Jordan is that, unlike others who I have encountered during my time covering the team,
Aaron Rodgers.
He's not the only one, but he owns his shortcomings, and he owns them publicly. And so if you ask him, he said his accuracy has been, and I quote, inconsistent this year. That's him saying that. And so why is that? I think part of it, too, and again, quarterbacks, you weren't a quarterback. I certainly wasn't. We should have brought Evan back, given his quarterbacking background. But I think they start to feel pretty good about what they're capable of, and maybe they get away from the fundamental little details that increase your accuracy, that are important, and you start to throw off your back foot. You start to do things because, hey, I'm pretty good. And so you put all that together, and again, I don't think he regressed. And I would love, if you believe that Jordan Love regressed, I would love to know why you think that.
Should we poll it?
I'm not doing for my account because I don't believe he did.
I don't either.
I just don't think he progressed as much as they needed him to,
he was at
as he was capable of, and as he should have.
Halftime of San Francisco, the pinnacle of where he is at as a Green Bay Packer quarterback. We all agree? Just got done whomping the Cowboys, played great. He's at 1,000 on the stock index. Where's he at now?
Yeah, 1050.
I like this more. Jesse, I would like this, and I don't know if you can illustrate this in poll form. If you could do a rolling poll that shows the mountain or the movement of it, that would be diabolical.
You basically just want the yodeling guy.
I do like the yodeling guy.
From Price is Right.
I don't think many Packer fans are going to say that he's anywhere close to where he was in that pinnacle of the 1,000 if he's at the 1,000. I just don't think many Packer fans are going to feel that way.
Yeah. Again,
He has not. Can someone tell me 4 quarters that he has played dynamite football this season? In a game.
All right, I'm going through my mental Rolodex of games in which he has been.
Arizona?
Houston and Arizona.
Houston, he stunk. No,
Houston,
he was bad.
Houston was his worst game of the season.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't his worst game of the season.
Against that defense and understanding the complexities of that game, that was the worst game for me. I know Minnesota people will say, and that's fair.
How do we grade the New Orleans game?
His highest quarterback ratings in games, which is not the end-all, be-all statistic, I understand. Miami, Seattle, Arizona.
Seattle, he played well, I thought.
Yeah. 20 of 27. Miami was 21 of 28, so those would appear to be...
Miami played well. Miami, it was cold. They mailed it in by halftime.
His most accurate games. Arizona threw 4 touchdown passes, 22 of 32 in that game, 68.8% completion percentage. Okay. The Detroit game that they lost, I guess I had forgotten this. You know how many passes he completed in that game?
He played a dynamite second half.
He completed 12 passes.
That's it?
He was 12 of 20.
Just wait, are you talking about the one in Detroit?
Yeah, 34-31.
Oh, we only had, the possessions
not a
were
lot of
very
possessions.
Limited. Yeah.
Indeed.
But he played really well in the second half. Did he not, or am I crazy?
No, punt, Christian Watson fumble, scored every other drive after that, I believe. So, look, I don't... Is he playing right now?
So you got him at 1050 over where he was in the San Fran game last year? Mm-hmm. There ain't anybody going to believe that.
Look, the fourth quarter counts too, man.
I just said at halftime is the pinnacle.
Right, so if you have him, but then if you have him at 1,000, and then he goes and throws 2 fourth quarter picks, including a across his body, late over the middle, into triple coverage with the game on the line on first down.
Yep.
That if we're using the stock market,
but you're missing
his market it plunged after that play.
It did, but you're missing my point. And my point is there any point throughout this season you felt better about Jordan Love than you did at halftime of the San Francisco playoff game?
Yeah, I thought during that run of
I don't think
Miami,
many Packer fans will. I don't. I don't think Packer fans are feeling, boy, he is back to where he was. Because he had the interception streak throughout the beginning of the season.
Right.
Careless with the football, right?
Uh-huh.
And then I think he steady eddied it, but there was never any real, people, he's not taking enough chances. And against some of these teams, well, what are we doing? You don't need to. You gotta manage games. Understand what you need to do to win. Josh Jacobs running the football. But I don't think anybody's going to sit here and say, where he was last year at that point, all of us were like, holy cats, did we hit the blanking jackpot with this kid. I don't know if people are saying that right now.
I think when he strung together the 49ers, Dolphins, Lions, Seahawks, New Orleans games. I mean, think about when they shut out New Orleans. That was 2 weeks ago. And we were talking about them in such a different manner than we are now after Vikings and Bears. Like we said that, hey, it's the Saints and they stink and whatever else. But man, he had put together 5 straight games of a 100 passer rating. He still hasn't thrown a pick since the Bears game in Chicago. So I think the way we feel today and the way we feel about how he's played the last 2 weeks has now influenced how we view his season.
For sure.
As it should.
But
during that time, I was saying he's playing like he was down the stretch last season.
I don't know if I ever felt that way. I felt like he was...
The numbers were almost exactly the same.
He was not from the last 8 games. And I will say this, and somebody put this up on Twitter yesterday as a great reminder. We all have these rosy, glorious recollections of what Jordan was in that last 8-game stretch because he was awesome. And the playoffs obviously amplify that.
I know what you're going to say. I did not forget the games you're about to mention.
Well, mention them then, because that's exactly what I was going to say.
I didn't forget that
Tommy DeVito.
They got beat by Tommy DeVito.
And Baker.
And Baker Mayfield had a 158.3 passer rating at Lambeau Field.
What we have to continue to remind ourselves of is this is his second year as a starting quarterback. This isn't instant success. There is, some would say, growth is not linear.
Right, but when I was saying that last year, we were getting pushback, right, after the season about how, remember I said, now defensive coordinators are going to have 19 games of film on him to figure out better ways to defend him. Like, I'm not surprised that he didn't make the big jump that we all wanted him to, but we were crowning him prematurely.
Potentially. I think we can probably say that. I just saw what he did for the majority of the back half of last season, and to step up in the playoffs and play like he did was awesome. And that was what I was hoping we would just see more and then more. I want when you have a stock, you don't want it just to stay flat. At best, he's been flat this year. At best. In a year where there needed to be growth. But again, he has an opportunity to continue to grow. This isn't going to be – there's going to be dips and valleys with being a quarterback in the NFL. A lot of times now, especially with the amplified media and the way we analyze everything, you're not allowed to do that. And if you notice, Sam Darnold has been able to do it. Baker Mayfield, there's been plenty of guys that have been kind of cast away with the dip. But then they bounce back. And do you reap the benefits of that? Some teams are. And then you have the Cleveland Browns, and you have some of these other teams that are just like, well, it didn't work. Let's go. And then you end up with a quarterback paying him a load of dollars, and he re-tears his Achilles out, and again, blah, 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 blah.